Now, to you workshop type guys, I'm sure that it was really obvious. As soon as I hit the center punch with the hammer, you knew right away I was trying to enlarge the pivot point on that plier so it would have a little less play in it. Yeah, it's an old trick. Anyway, there's something else there in that scene. If you look around, you can glean some very interesting, well, not so interesting, but some very accurate information. Okay, that feels a lot more tight. Not so tight that I can't open and close it, but it doesn't have the play in it now that it used to. I realized that it was just slightly out of focus. However, if you did watch, you should have been able to see the exact date and time to the second of what it was at that very moment. Now, before you start thinking to yourself, Ron is wasting his money on expensive watches. Well, this is not an expensive watch. Some of you already probably have one, and you know you can get them dirt cheap. And when I bought mine, I got it on sale as well. Now, those of you who have a watch like this, you're going to be able to tell from the display that it successfully went online. Well, it didn't go online, but it tuned in a radio station, and about 10 hours or so ago, and it successfully set itself to the exact time. Well, within a few nanoseconds, I guess. Anyway, yeah, the most it's out right now is probably half a second or less. So, yeah, if you want to set your watches, well, there it is. There's the correct time. Now, of course, I'm just kidding. However, sort of interesting, when I was about 10 years old or so, my grandfather had an old radio that would tune in a couple of shortwave bands, and I'd be fooling around on that, and I used to hear the WWV time signal. And also here in Canada they had a time signal. It was called the Dominion Observatory time signal. I used to tune that in as well. Anyway, I'm sort of rambling on and on here. Yeah, I can remember when we lived in a little town in northern Saskatchewan. I found out that we were going to move down into Nebraska, to Omaha, as a matter of fact. And it was also around that time I was fooling around listening to radios, and you could, at night, you used to be able to tune in the stations a lot better than you could in the daytime, because we lived way up in the north. And we used to get the radio station on what they used to call at that time the skip. And I remember one time I tuned in the station and it just boomed right in. And then I can still remember this. The announcer says, "You were listening to KFAB in Omaha." Well, it was Omaha that we were going to move to. I was just so excited. I went and I told my mom and dad, "Hey, guess what I'm listening to?" Well, I said something to that effect. But I do remember hearing the announcer say, "You are listening to KFAB in Omaha." I'll never forget that. Now, if I try and pick these up with my fingers here, yeah, I can pick them off with the tape. However, it's going to be kind of hard to manipulate them around. And if I was to use the tweezers here, for sure I'm going to be marking them. I know from experience that these tweezers being so sharp, I'm going to have a lot of repainting that I'm going to have to do. Yeah, so that's why I'm going to try and rig up something a little different here. Got a piece of rubber here from an inner tube. And yeah, I think if I pad the jaws with this, it should be hard enough that the piece won't slip out, and yet soft enough that it won't damage the piece. And I don't think this needs to be too terribly wide. Okay, I think if I glue them to the jaws, I imagine CA glue should work okay. And then afterwards, trim them down a little bit. Okay, just a little bit here. Ooh, that's a little bit. And we'll just do one side at a time. Whoops. I don't do retakes. Okay, now I'll do the other side. You know what? I better get rid of that excess there. How about the curing agent? Just give it a little shot here. Okay, now the other side. See if I can put a little less on. No, I couldn't. Come on. I don't want to be touching with my fingers here. I'm going to end up with my fingers glued to the pliers. Now I could cut a lot of these shenanigans out, and you'd think everything just goes great. But you know, I like to keep it real. Not everything goes as planned. This is just 150 grit sandpaper. I'll just try and get it evened out here a little bit. Okay, I think I got the sides. Now let's do the end. Okay, you're watching it with me for the very first time. Now there we go. Now hopefully it'll be that easy to place it down onto something on the deck. You know, this is just an afterthought here, but I wonder how difficult is it going to be to get this carpet tape off of that plywood? Oh my, I got a feeling it's going to be leaving a lot of stuff on the plywood. Or maybe not. Well, I guess we'll soon know. Now we are about 10.5 inches back from the bow on the port side. I meant the starboard side. Now that reminds me, I want to tell you a story about Captain Smith on the Titanic and his secret book. And this little piece up here, it's got to go on here and another one right here. I'll move in a little bit and we'll see if we're going to have to scrape the paint off, or is it going to fit anyway? I think this is going to work. Okay. Well, you know, it's got to be glued on. So I'm going to have to take it off here and put a little bit of glue. I don't think it's a good idea to put the glue on the peg, because it will wick its way down in that in the paint and get onto the deck. So I think the idea was it would be best to try and put a little dab of glue in the hole on that whatever it is. Okay, I've got the glue in the hole. Gotta get the angle just right here. Having trouble finding the hole. Okay. Whoops. Okay, let's try that again. Come on. There. Well, once that hardens, it's not coming off. Probably take the peg with it. You know what? I'm probably going to have to repaint these things anyway. These pieces are just so tiny. Now here's this little piece that we just put on. And I was using these. But I was just thinking, I've got all these extra tweezers. I've been using the same one over and over again, but there's extras. And I'm just wondering, would I have been maybe better off having put the rubber on something like this? I might have a lot better control. Yeah, I think I'm going to make a change. But that's going to be tomorrow. Yeah, thanks for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow.